Hello and welcome. This is the Afrobeat Cult. My name is Ehi Enakimio, and we have been talking about it. Today's show is monumental. Today's show is epic. Today's show is legendary, and I say that with every ounce of meaning, everything that I'm talking about right now. This show especially is something that it should have been done a long time ago, but you have to wait for the exact right time and place to get it done. So after much preparation, after much getting ready, I will introduce today's guest. We usually have guests, but today is a special one because it's on a Sunday. We usually don't do the interviews on Sundays, but today we had to make an exception. So I won't be talking much. I will let him introduce himself. Most of you already know him. You have been sending messages and sending questions already. So we'll just get right into it. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, with me today is this young gentleman here. And oh, you're smiling. I called you a young gentleman.
Because it's true.
Yes, okay. Soak it all in. Soak it all in. You deserve all the compliments. You deserve all the flowers. You deserve all the celebration that we are going to be bestowing upon you today. This man is, I'll land in a little bit. Just wait a little bit, okay? So he is a legend of the broadcasting world in Africa, in Nigeria. He is a legend when it comes to advertising. When it comes, you name it, he has had his hands deep inside of it. Journalism, the big newspapers, you name it, he has had his hands in all of that. A lot of people know him from there, but I know him a bit differently. I call him Pale. So this is my dad, Mr. Ihria Enakimio. Welcome to the Afrobeat Cult.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So let's just get into it. Now, we know that we don't have so much time, but I know that you're a very, very busy man, and we don't have so much time. So we'll just get into it. So we'll go through the list of all the questions, as many of the questions that have been sent to ask you. This, in a way, is something of a masterclass because you will be giving us a lot of tips when it comes to all the things that you're very, very good at, that we know that you're really good at when it comes to script writing, when it comes to production work, when it comes to so much. You studied film, right?
Yes, film and TV.
Film and TV in the US.
Yes, in New York University, NYU.
Okay. Let's before we. Well, I mean, that was later on in life, I guess. So, but
yes.
before we go into all of that, let's take you back a little bit, right? Let's go back to where you come from. Where are you from in Nigeria? Yes, if you don't mind.
Oh, where I come from in Nigeria shifted a little bit from time to time. You know, I was born in the colonial era, and I was in the western region of Nigeria at that time.
Okay.
And then the only, as far as I know, the only state or region, as it was, that was created constitutionally in Nigeria was the Midwest region, because there was a plebiscite and the people voted to move away from the western region. So I then came from Midwest, and Midwest became Bendel, and Bendel became Edo State and Delta State, and that's where it is. That's how it is.
It is rumored by a lot of people, especially those that were born much later on, that you guys had the best of what that country had to offer. Is that true?
Well, it's relative, you know. I mean, it's like our parents saying to us that they were first class in their classes, and later on we find that it isn't exactly the same thing. But you see, things are relative. They don't run on a parallel line. So Well, you could say we did have a good time at that time. It was
Mm,
easy to eat in the university. The
yeah,
cafeterias were different.
yeah,
Yeah, things were different. But this is the example I usually give.
yeah.
When I graduated from the university, I bought my car, which was a Datsun at that time. I bought it
Yeah.
for about 3,600 naira at the time,
Okay. Yeah.
thereabouts. And then after I had my master's degree and I came back to Nigeria, I bought a used Datsun car of the
Okay.
same caliber of car
Yeah.
for about 200,000 naira,
Wow.
at that time. And today you can't get that same car
Mm,
for anything less than 1 point something million naira.
mm,
So, but when you look at it, at the time I was buying my car for 3,600 naira, my
yeah.
annual salary was actually 5,000 naira.
Wow.
So, things are relative. They're
Mm,
built on percentages rather than
okay.
on a direct calculation like, equivalence.
Okay.
You understand? Somebody asked me
Mm,
recently, how much do they sell petrol in the United States? And I said, a gallon of petrol in the United States is about $5.
okay.
And if you convert that to the
To
naira,
Naira,
you're
yeah.
talking of over 3,000 naira per gallon.
Yeah.
You understand? And if you inflicted that kind of a price on Nigerians, I'm sure
Yeah, mhm.
they are going to riot.
Yes. Yes. So
So it's relative.
what was your, like I said, a lot of people don't know a lot of this kind of information about you. They know you as a TV personality. They know you as the superstar celebrity. Because growing up, I met a lot of these celebrities, if we can call them that. What was your childhood like? What was it like growing up in the Midwestern Nigeria?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Midwest Nigeria. By
Midwestern.
benefit of hindsight, it was heaven.
Oh,
My
well,
child,
okay,
my childhood was heaven because my father had traveled a lot. He had been
okay.
around the world. He
Mm,
was farming. He was teaching. He was like a missionary, as it were. And we had a
yeah,
lot of fun. We met lots of people. So today, for instance, if I can proudly say that I'm a very detribalized Nigerian because
okay,
I never really had any time to be entrenched in those parochial uh,
yeah,
uh, qualities of life and all of that. So
mm, mm,
it was fun. I would go to the farm.
yeah,
We ate a fresh soup every day and all that.
mm,
So yeah, it
mm,
was nice. Things were less sophisticated than they are right now. So
mm.
yeah.
So if it was that, beautiful, that grand, that nice, what inspired you to leave? I mean, I know that as you grow older, as you what made you want to leave what seemed to be like something that was heavenly?
Okay. Relatively, you could say that when you expand that, you find that Lagos was different from what it is today.
Okay.
Life in Lagos was different from what it is today. But I can tell you
Mm,
this: I did not move. I was moved before I decided to move.
okay.
I was moved, for instance, even while I stayed in the same place. The state I was in had shifted.
Mm,
From Western region to Midwest to Bendel to Edo
okay.
State and all of that, it
Yeah.
had already shifted. But
Yeah.
the major cause, and I can tell you this now honestly, because you are too grown to be as defiant as I was to my father.
Okay.
Now, so I
Mm,
actually moved because my old soldier father, who had been a nurse in the army,
yeah.
I desperately wanted a son who'd be a doctor, and
Okay.
I
You
wasn't
didn't.
cut. I wasn't
Yeah.
cut out for that. I always imagined myself to be an artist, even when I didn't know exactly what that
What?
was.
Yeah.
I knew I
Mm,
could play the guitar a little bit. I
yeah.
wasn't too good at it.
Yeah.
I could sing. I
Mm.
think I was a little better at doing that. I could see people dancing when I was singing,
Okay.
and I
Actually,
hoped.
hold on. Let me hold you there. You actually don't want my opinion about your singing, do you?
No, but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
you're entitled to your opinion, but I could see people dancing when I was
Oh,
singing, and I was
oh,
hoping
sure.
that it wasn't the alcohol that was dancing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so that gave
Um,
me a lot of confidence.
yeah. Yeah. Was it easy adjusting to that new? Because I mean, you literally left the
I
rural
then
environment. Yeah.
First of all, I went to school in Wari.
Okay.
Secondary
Okay.
school was in Warri.
Mm,
And
mm.
from then on, I set my sights in other places and I moved to Lagos.
Okay.
Somehow I had managed to persuade my parents that what they could not force me to do, which was
Yeah.
medicine, that my elder brother, whom I adored so much, would be
Yeah.
able to persuade me to do that. But of course, that was a lie.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. So was it the transition? Was it difficult? Was it? Did you? What were the challenges that you faced?
Well, when you are young, it's
Yeah.
easier to blend than when you grow old.
Mm.
We grow into all these attitudes and all of that as we grow
Okay.
older.
Yep.
We're exposed to other things and we begin to discriminate against things that we used to love and all that. So it
Mm.
was easy to blend into Lagos. I had stayed in Warri, and Lagos wasn't too difficult. But
Mm.
in terms of evolving as a man,
Yeah.
in terms of developing into something, into who I am today,
Yeah.
that wasn't easy because at that point I had to study on my own.
Mm.
I wasn't very anxious to go to school if it was to
Yeah.
study science,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Okay.
eventually I made it to
Mm.
university on my own.
Mm. Mm. Did you have that mindset that the performing arts would be somewhere you would find yourself in? Was that a vision of yours, or
I
were you just literally pissing in the wind and hoping that it wouldn't splash back and hit you in the face?
I know that I wanted to be an artist. I liked the music industry. I
Yeah.
liked the theater industry. Um, I wanted to be that, but
Mm.
I wasn't sure I was going to be that. I wasn't
Mm.
sure of who I was going to be
Yeah.
until I saw this advertisement. It was a small bit of an advertisement of sorts in the
Mm.
newspapers that
Yeah.
they were admitting people for a diploma in drama
Okay.
in drama at the university,
Mm.
and that gave me the hope that I might meet somebody like Wole Soyinka.
Okay.
Unfortunately, by the time I
Mm.
got to the university, he was
He had already.
incarcerated and all that.
Oh dear.
But I
Yeah.
met great people like Jimmy Sholanke
Mm.
and Tunji Oyelano and Dakwa Deluba and the rest of them, and the rest
Mm.
is history.
Okay. Were you at any point in time were you scared that you would fail and disappoint your loving parents back home?
Well, they had come to accept me for who I am at that point. So
Mm.
I it was for me to fail myself, to disappoint myself. I wasn't really having to account to them at that point.
Mm.
I know that once I had put my hands to the plow, I wanted to succeed, and I
Yeah.
just went with it.
Mm. You went into was it which came first? Was it the writing or the acting?
It was the acting.
It was the acting.
It was the
How,
acting that
it
did.
was the acting. Okay.
The story of my writing, it's funny because, for instance, today I write poetry, and I started writing poetry because I saw your poems.
Oh dear. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw a little note that you had done, and you had
Yeah.
poems on it, and I said, "Geez, if this man can write poems, what
Oh,
about me?"
whoa, 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 hold it right there, hold it right there. So, oh, I'm way out there already. Okay, but hey, I'm happy I'm able to inspire something,
Yes, you
right?
did. You
Yes.
did,
So
but
I'm glad I added some value in that way.
you did,
Yeah.
and then I had written something that I thought was a masterpiece in the
Okay.
university, and I had the boldness to hand it to Dakwa Deluba, who was a
Okay.
very thoroughbred critic.
Mm.
And because I was so confident it was good, and he wouldn't respond, he wouldn't give me any opinion for a long time until I rounded
Mm.
him up, and all he said to me was, "Oh, that
Yeah.
it's okay." Several years later, I looked at it. It was this 2A exercise book, about 30
Okay.
pages long, and
Yeah.
I had only done about 5 pages into it, and I thought it
Mm.
was a classic.
Yeah.
You know, now I know that if he had criticized it at that point, I might never
Yeah.
have been bold enough to
I've
write
gone
another
to
thing.
continue. Mm.
Yeah.
So with it, let's look at the acting now. This is something that you loved with every bit of your being, I guess, right?
Yes, I still
Yes.
do.
Um, so what makes a good actor?
First of all, an actor must recognize that acting is not imitating,
Okay.
it is being. the ability to be the character that you're supposed to play.
Yeah.
And in order for you to be able to do that, you have to understand what that character is, his nuances, and all of
Yeah.
those things. You have to be able to interpret the word as it is written, and you have to allow yourself to do a little bit of research, find out who it is. Look, it is also possible for you to create new nuances for the role that you're playing, things that
Yeah.
he didn't do,
Yeah.
but it has to be within a context, and you have to recognize there's a lot of discipline required. You have to
Yeah.
recognize that the director owns the big picture, and that you
Yeah.
must fit into a setup.
Mm.
It is not for you to be a star. It's a
Yeah.
team job.
Yeah.
In order for the play to live,
Yeah.
you have to be a part of it, not
Okay.
be it.
Okay. So is it easy? Is it easy to see somebody who's a terrible actor from the very beginning, or is it something that you can look at someone and think, okay, there is hope. You can help this person
You
achieve
mean in
something.
terms of casting, for
In
instance?
terms of, yes, in terms of casting.
Well, my experience has been so far that sometimes it is, in fact, much easier to pick up an actor from the streets
Okay.
than from drama school.
Oh,
Because people
well,
who,
hold on. Don't give any answers just yet. Just wait. So I want folks to take a breather on this one. We'll take a short break and then we'll be right back. Is the Afrobeat cult? I am still here with my old man, my dad, and this is supposed to be something of a masterclass. Now he was about to give the answer to the question which I asked. Now it's some level of revelation about a lot of the experiences that he has had, and he has had many in so many on so many platforms. Um, this is something that he has been working on, and for I think in future there will be so many classes that he'll be organizing, which relate to the things that he definitely knows a thing or two about. So feel free to answer the question again.
yes, I had said initially that acting is not a pretending to be.
Yeah.
Acting as it is today, that's why they have all kinds of styles of acting, method acting, and all of that. Acting
Mm,
is being the part that you're supposed to play.
okay.
Two, four, three, four different actors will play the same role in bringing in their natural nuances and things into it, and still interpret the role well,
Mm,
even though it is there will be differences in projecting that character. But it is a being, it's an immersing yourself into the character as it's supposed to be,
yeah.
creating a new being as it's supposed to be, as it
Okay.
relates to the other actors, as it relates
Mm,
relates to the story. So you can tell. Uh, First of all, when you're casting, for instance, there's a reading session where the character reads from the text.
mm,
If they have had an opportunity to have seen the text before, then
yeah.
they can give you a better opinion of what their power to interpret that role.
Mm,
Now you have to also, as a director, for instance, see whether this guy is amenable, this girl or boy or man is amenable to direction,
yeah.
because there are some people so set in their ways, they think that they're
Just
superstars and you cannot
from
tell
the
them
get
what to
go.
do.
What did you were you like that when you started? What was it like for you on your first if you
I have
remember?
I have always been ready to learn, and I'm still learning today. So
Nicely said.
yeah, so it's not. I have always listened to my director,
Mm, yeah.
and I learned quickly enough that if I had a difference between me and my director, I should tell him what I'm
Mm.
thinking, and then we should reach an agreement what it is going to be.
Let's go into radio.
Yeah.
I know that's another area that you really, really, really loved. I remember growing up, and there were times when you were still at the university. Um, you would bring the old style films home to come and do your editing while you were preparing for your exams and stuff like that. So you had projects that you had to do, but there was always one thing that you loved nearly as much as acting, and it has always been radio. Tell me about radio. Why radio?
Radio is a very intimate medium, very, very intimate. And unfortunately, people assume so much about radio. The first thing people think radio is an easy medium to deal with,
Mm,
to produce on, and all of that. But it is not. It is very intimate medium. And from my own experience, now I know that, having worked in film and all that, I know that you can do quite as much as you do on film on radio, even with the absence of vision. Take a blind man. He all his instincts, all his intuition is honed in
mm,
on his ears if he can
yeah.
hear. So it's the same thing. You really, really do have a captive audience when you work on radio, because
Mm,
if the message, if the sound, if the signals that you're sending across are strong enough, he's
yeah.
locked in. All of his being is locked in, because he cannot afford to be distracted by any of his other instincts and all that.
Mm.
So, radio is very, very, very intimate, and I
Do you think
love
it's
it for
still
that.
do you think it's still relevant today? Looking at all the, I mean, especially in the developed societies, in Nigeria, for instance, in Africa, in develop, because I remember that you've worked on is it development radio?
Development, yeah, development communication. Yes.
Yes, development communication. So you still do quite a lot of that still. So
Yes, I
hey,
do.
go to this man. If you have projects like that, he will nail it. He will kill it for you. So go ahead and do that. So does it still have the same impact that it did many years ago? Is it still worth it?
Well, radio is still very versatile, for one
Mm,
thing, because you carry it everywhere you go. And especially in
yeah.
developing countries where electricity is a problem, it's still very relevant. It reaches everywhere. Uh,
Mm,
yes, the lure of the visuals, the colors, and all of the things that you can see appeal to the senses a lot deeper. But radio is still very, very relevant because of its versatility. Yes.
okay. So if I'm not going to drag you into, because there are areas that I really would like to drag you into, but it's comparative. Want to talk about how the presentations are today. Who
Oof.
influenced you? We'll go into that. Who were your first um, influences during your early days before you got into radio?
Before I got into radio,
Yeah.
my influences
Yeah.
in the broadcast
Yes.
media.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, don't forget that at the time I was growing up, at that time,
Mm.
we were just transiting from the BBC era
Okay.
to what it was. So there was a lot of professionalism about it. We had really great broadcasters at that time, people like,
Yeah.
and I was lucky. I still met people like Christopher Collade running the business,
Okay.
people like Ishola Folonsho and all of that.
Mm.
And then there was one person in particular, BC Lawrence. He had
Mm.
this 15-minute broadcast that he used to do. It was called 15 minutes, just 15 minutes with Biz Law.
Okay. Yeah.
It was so very effective. The first day I heard it and I said, wow, you really can hold people's attention with 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I was producing a lot of the 15-minute radio programs that we were doing, and it was really good. But mostly the people that I looked forward to at that time were
Mm.
newscasters.
Okay.
Those were the people we heard a lot
Yeah. A
about
lot more.
at that
Yeah.
time.
Mm.
Yes.
Then you left. You worked with. You used to be with the NBC, then
It was the
NTA,
NBC. Yeah.
NBC, then NTA. Then did you do government radio, if I can call it that?
That was government. At the time,
Yeah, but
government held the monopoly, as it were.
okay. Then we had the AM radio and then the FM radio.
Yes.
Because I remember clearly that I think the most that I remember of you on radio was with FM radio. You had
Yes,
RM2.
yes, yes.
Um,
When I came back from film school, I was
yeah.
doing a program called Masculine Line on Radio
Yes.
2. Yes.
Okay. So, do you remember what it was like working with, or do you remember the folks that you worked with back then in RN2?
Oh yes,
The
lots
big
of
names,
them.
we have to give them credit. At least they,
Tony, people like Tony Beguna,
yeah,
people like well, there's some younger people at that time who are still alive today. John Susan and the rest of
yeah,
them. It was a
mm,
great atmosphere to
mm,
work in at the time.
mm,
Benson Idonije, Ndagwa,
yeah, mm,
there were lots of them.
mm,
It
mm,
was a great atmosphere to work with.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, you have radio. We're not going to go, like I said, all these things, all the tricks and tips. We're going to package for everyone interested in knowing more and getting these skills that you have developed over time. Those will be packaged. So what we're looking at now is script writing.
Yes.
Tell me about script writing. What is a good script? And is it missing in today's environment?
Not entirely.
Mm,
The problem that this generation has is that some of the people we met in the business
yeah.
still had input from overseas. So today, like even like in sports, you
Yeah.
find that Nigerian writers who have made it have been those ones who had access to overseas publishers and all that, and
Okay.
overseas
Mm,
publicity. Those are the ones who have made it. But they are great writers here, and that has been a struggle that I've been engaged in, and something that has bothered me. That if you look back at writing in Nigeria today, you find that after Femi Oshofison, there's hardly any well-known Nigerian writer today.
mm,
After people like Olarotimi and all of
yeah.
that, and
Mm,
that generation that bred Femi Oshofison, everybody else is fishing.
okay.
You understand? So it's not a lack of writers; it's a lack of exposure.
Okay.
And because there is no, I believe, for instance, that you become the more you write, the better the writer that you become.
Yeah.
You learn more to express yourself when you continue to express yourself.
Mm,
So um, you cannot be a writer if you have nothing to write. You cannot
correct.
say
Yeah.
something if you have
Mm,
nothing to say. And if you
mm,
have a topic that you want to deal with, unless you understand it,
yeah.
you cannot express it. So first of
Mm,
all, you must understand what you're trying to communicate.
yeah.
That's where it begins from. So it's not just a desire to write. You must have
Mm,
something that is relevant, that's important, that you want to write. And then
mm,
you begin to develop your skills. There is
mm,
no magic wand to it. You don't just abracadabra become a writer overnight.
mm.
You grow into it, you adopt it.
Yeah, but at the same time, not everyone can write.
No, no.
Okay.
Some people can develop ideas and have
Yeah.
other people write it for them.
Okay.
True, but it may never be the same as the original thought. It
Okay.
will take a long time. It take a period of time of symbiosis between the
Mm.
thinker and the writer to bring out
So,
what the original thought is.
so even if you have been trained, even if you have gone to writing school or done courses in writing, it's still very possible
That you can't write? Oh yes,
that
because you will
you
learn.
write.
You will know the skills. I mean,
Mm,
you will know the skills. You will know that the story has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
yeah.
Yeah, but if you are a writer, you soon begin to realize that the middle does not have to be at the middle all the
Yeah.
time.
All the time. Yeah.
That it can be at the beginning
Yeah.
and then lead to the beginning. You
Mm,
understand? Because for most human beings, you
yeah.
begin to know about your past after you've gone past it.
Okay. Wow, James, right there. So, we'll come back to that, but I want to look at the content of what we have today compared to what we used to have when it comes to the movies, Nollywood versus Hollywood. I know a lot of people talk about. I know this is one area that you feel very sensitive about.
You're trying to
I know.
put me in trouble, my
Yeah,
friend.
let's let them bring the trouble. Let's bring the trouble. I mean, you're just spewing facts here, okay? Nollywood versus Hollywood. When it comes to, do you think there will be a point in time when, besides all the financial issues, do you think there will come a time when Nollywood overtakes Hollywood?
Oh, I think that Nollywood already overtook Hollywood in terms of the quantity of material that they produce on a daily basis. I've heard of directors who direct two films at the same time. So,
Mm,
as far as that is concerned, but in terms of the quality of material that is coming out,
yeah.
uh, I think that they are not very well thought through
Mm,
because I have seen some of the stuff that I see. Look, no doubt about it, Nigeria is full of talent.
yeah. Mm,
Some old guy came to me one day and says, "What are these young people doing?" I said, "Look, forget about it. When we started this thing, we came from theater school.
yeah.
Theater and film are not the same thing. Even
Mm,
TV and big screen is not the same
different.
thing.
Yeah.
They have
Mm,
their differences. So, but Nigeria is full of talent.
yeah.
We need to dedicate ourselves to the things that we do. We
Mm,
need to tell our own stories. We need to be able to use the modern technology, not to tell the stories that Hollywood is telling, but to tell
yeah.
our own stories. Today,
Mm,
believe it or not, I'm more. Uh, I like the stories that the Senegalese filmmakers tell than the stories that we are telling, because sometimes I still look at what's coming out of Nigeria and you see these native doctors with chalk around their eyes.
mm,
People wrote thousand stories about us several years ago. Today, we're still doing thousand stories about ourselves, and that makes me sick.
yeah.
But that's not to say we don't have talent. That's
Mm,
not to say that we don't have people who can make great movies
yeah.
if they put their heads to it. And people need to understand that film is not a dialogue medium. Film is a
Mm,
pictures medium,
okay.
complemented by dialogue rather
Okay.
than the other way
The
around.
way around. Yeah.
So we tell the stories that we should be telling on radio, we are telling them on film. And
Mm,
the counterpoints that you normally would see on film, you don't see in Nigerian so called film. I don't even call them film, I call them movies because they are moving pictures,
okay.
which is which is a distinction for me.
Mm,
So I think that Africa is the last frontier.
okay.
There's hardly anything that you are going to tell about America and Europe now unless you're writing about mass.
Mm,
But there's so much that has not been dealt with in Africa. There's so much about the human angle stories of Africa. Some of the things that happen in Africa can happen anywhere else. And we are
mm,
not telling our own stories.
yeah.
That is that's what gets
Your
my
own little
goat.
take. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, social media.
Yes.
Okay. The new
Yes.
frontier,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is it a good thing for our industry, or is it a bad thing? Has it made things, like when you put like the Energizer Bunny? I don't know if you've seen that commercial. Okay, where they put a battery inside the bunny and then
Oh,
it's
okay.
goes
Okay.
into
Yeah. Yes.
overdrive. Is it
Yes.
is it is it helping us, or is it making us lose some detail?
I think it is causing a lot of confusion. It is something that could have worked that we have not really fully gotten the hang of yet.
Mm,
Um, in terms of its spread, in terms of its ability to reach every corner, in terms of its availability to everybody who wants to use it, yes. But take the story of Nigeria and independent broadcasting, for instance.
yeah.
There was a time when we all clamored for it. We wanted independent broadcasting, but we did
Mm,
not look at how to people independent broadcasting. How do you control it? How do you make sure that the right people, clearly broadcasting in Nigeria today, to my mind, in my opinion, is totally understaffed with the quality of people that should be in broadcasting,
okay.
and we're not addressing the versatility of equipment as it is today, because you don't need to have a TV station in every little town
Yeah.
or village,
Mm,
because you can actually go there, you can reach there without having to go and put a massive infrastructure in the place. Now it's the same way I look at social media. Social
okay.
media can be a very good thing. If we know the American government is struggling with Facebook right now. You
Okay.
understand what it can do to elections, what it can do to the
Mm,
minds of people. They are struggling with Twitter. They are struggling with so much that is social media. But that is not to say that it could not be a good thing. It can be a very good thing, but it needs to be better structured than it is right now.
Okay. Let's go back to your scripting issues, right?
Yes.
Now, which is the most difficult? I know that you've written stuff for comedies, you've written stuff for more serious. Which is the most difficult to do?
Oh boy, I wouldn't put it quite that straightforward.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it in such hard terms because um, comedy is really difficult to write in the sense that, first of all, you have to have good humor in you already.
Okay.
Number two, uh, it lives on very precise factors. Timing,
Mm.
timing is very important. The cues and stuff become very critical for comedy,
Yeah.
and your ability to understand the character. 'Cause look, comedy is not stupidity. The things that make people laugh are not necessarily stupid things.
Yeah.
You understand? It is sometimes often the ridiculous.
Mm.
Is he going to do it? Take a Charlie Chaplin, for instance.
All right.
Some of the things that we run away from today when we are talking about making movies and all of that, Charlie Chaplin did and got away with. In Charlie Chaplin, you would see the banana peel in front. You know that he has seen it. You don't expect him to step on
I
it. He
sleep on
steps
it.
on
Yeah.
it and falls down, and you're still laughing.
Yeah.
You understand? Because you're saying to yourself, did he really do that?
Mm.
That's a matter of timing
Yeah.
and all
Mm.
that. So I think that you can easily repair the mistakes that are made in other genres of writing,
Mm.
but that's difficult to manage with comedy because if the timing and all of that, all the elements that should make good comedy are not in place,
Yeah.
you can't do it.
So with your experience, and there was a reason why I asked you that question, because a lot of the material, the content that you have produced over the years have often been inspired by the situation that you find yourself in at that point in time. Politics. Let's talk politics.
Wow.
How did that affect the stuff that you wrote? Social issues. How did that affect the stuff that you wrote?
Well,
Yes, go ahead.
actually it's well, that's not to say that that's all you need to write about, but
Mm,
it is. Politics is everything because that's what guides our lives.
mm,
That's what says you can step out of your doors and be safe. That's
mm,
what says you can say what's on your mind and not get locked
mm.
up. That's what says you won't get shot when you say something that the ruler does not want to hear.
Yeah.
It determines a lot of things about our lives today that you cannot
Mm,
really ignore it. And somehow, because I was a young man in the 60s when the life was so very vibrant, when there were
yeah.
hijackings and things going on. There were the Beatles and all of that, and
Yeah.
Rolling Stones and all of that, and Black Power movement and all of that. You grew into those things, and it just naturally became part of your life. And
Mm,
in developing countries such as ours, there are masses of people who don't understand anything, and
mm.
through the dramas and through the things that you write, you'll be able to bring it. I give you a simple example. Most Nigerians don't know where their local government is.
True.
They don't know how vital to their lives it is.
Mm.
See, today, I'm very frightened for Nigeria, for instance, today,
Why?
because somehow I feel that the next elections are going to be very, very crucial, and that they could be the most contentious elections we have ever held. I don't know, but it's a feeling that I have,
Mm.
and some of the time I have said things like that, I've felt like that, they have come very true, but I'm not going to be the prophet who announces that God said to me. No,
Oh,
God didn't say
okay.
that. God didn't say that to me. I just feel it in my bones. I
Mm,
just feel it.
mm. So, looking at the society now, let's say you were still doing masculine line,
Yes.
right? What would be the key things that you would want to talk about? Okay, they've had the yes.
I would want to talk to tell Nigerians to look to learn from history, to know, for instance, that today everybody is talking about president, Mr. President, Mr. President. For
Whoever
instance,
he is.
we are in a so-called democracy where we are not in a kingdom, we are not in a dictatorship. So there's a division of labor where the president belongs to the executive and there's the National Assembly. Nobody's looking at the National Assembly. Nobody's looking at the limitations in the powers that the president holds. Somehow we think that there is a magic wand that the president holds that will
To
make
change
him
everything.
achieve things. But the president, as we know, even in Abacha's time, can be held hostage in Aso Rock. We hear, for instance, that Babangida had a problem, managing things without getting clearance from Abacha.
Yeah.
True or false, I don't know. But, so if in the military where they are authoritarian, things can be as bad as that, imagine what happens if a president is not able to persuade the National Assembly to agree with his programs. What
Yeah.
happens? Because I asked myself, how come is it that members of the National Assembly always get their pecks when they want it, but they
Yeah.
cannot persuade Mr. President to make good laws,
Yeah.
to sign onto good laws? I mean, it's crazy. That's what I would tell them. Look
Okay.
back at what has happened. Don't pretend that the thief from your home, from your tribe, is better than, is okay as long as he's from your
Just
tribe.
from the pipe. Yeah.
You understand? Let us determine that what is good and what is bad. We have the joke about, they say, the Yoruba man says, what is not good is bad. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is not good is bad. We should learn to see things from that point of view, and we should take more interest. Look, America is as divided as any country in the world. There are more tribes in America than in Nigeria. When you imagine that as many as the tribes in Nigeria, there are Nigerians here. So
Yeah.
add all those Nigerian tribes to the tribes that they meet in America. So you can imagine how many tribes in America. But government runs.
Yeah.
Government
You
runs.
living in the US. You are in the US now. I mean, we have to
Yes.
be forthright and honest about that. Because a lot of people have been asking, hey, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And I say, well, the guy is chasing his American dream right now. So what do you want me to
I've
say?
resisted it long enough. I've resisted doing that for long enough.
Yeah. So you are there right now, and you're in a position. Is it easier to see? I don't know. Is it easier to see the country from the outside? Some people say no, that you have to be inside to be able to see it better. What is
Well,
your perspective right now?
I will tell them to look at two contestants at a draft board or chess board. Who sees better, the two players or the man who is sitting on the side? It is the man who is sitting on the side. He sees both moves as they are being planned.
Yeah.
If you take enough interest in what is going on, if you are discerning enough and you investigate, you will see better all the sentiment that the people express because they are feeling pain. Look, if you're going through a lot of pain, it is difficult to think. From
True.
here, the only pain that I feel is that I look at Nigeria, great country as it could have been,
Yeah.
reduced to rubble before our very eyes by people who are not as smart. Nigeria has some of the smartest, some of the most brilliant people on
On
Mother
the planet.
Earth.
Yep.
Yeah, so how do we become reduced to where we are? That is my pain.
Yeah.
But as for the people who are there, they watch a loaf of bread go from 2
Naira.
kobo to 1,000 naira. I mean, it's crazy.
And
With that kind of a
it's not
pain,
even
how
good
can
bread.
you think?
Yeah.
It's not even good bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it is made with palm wine and stuff.
There you go. So journalism, you, like I said earlier, have been in the thick of just about everything. How were you able to do that?
Well, some people have called me all kinds of names. Some people have said that I'm a bohemian. Some people have said I'm a gypsy.
Renaissance.
it hasn't always been a matter of choice.
Mm.
It has largely been a matter of a spirit movement.
Okay.
You understand? I just can do these things, and I find myself there, and I'm doing them, and that's it. That's how I got into advertising. For instance, I'm not going to bother to go into the reasons why later why I found that I was employed when I had not applied to be employed. But I took interest in advertising because I am interested in something that privately I say to myself that I call mind bending.
Okay.
I like to engage in the exercise of trying to shape the thinking of people. I have an idea, I think it is a good idea. You have a different idea, and I try to convince you.
That
That's how I
your
got
idea is
into.
better.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Mm.
That's how I got into advertising. That's how I go. I can't. As much as people love rice, I can't sell rice. Nobody will buy
Mm.
from me. You understand? So,
Yeah.
but that's a marketing, mostly a marketing exercise. I market ideas. I sell
Okay.
ideas.
Okay.
I tried to communicate to people
Mm.
something that they may not have thought about.
Okay.
So that's how I got into journalism. That's how I got into lots of the things that I had done.
Mm. Do you think that right now, based on the kind of things that we have seen across Africa, across the world, do you think that journalists are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are they conveying the kind of message that they should be? Are they being honest with, from your perspective, from the experience that you've had? Are they
Well,
all one-sided mostly?
intent
Yeah.
and purpose may not necessarily align.
Okay.
I think that a majority of journalists try to do journalism properly, to tell the
Yeah.
truth.
Mm.
But everybody who studied communication, who studied journalism, knows there's something called gatekeepers.
Yeah.
So who pays the piper calls the tune. No matter how, so it's like what the politicians do. It depends. You have to determine whether the policy of the newspaper or the medium that you're working for suits your internal person, and then to align with it. Otherwise, if you go into a place where the policy is to tell lies and all of that, you will not be able to help it.
Okay.
So if you care about putting bread on the table, sometimes what Nigerians like to call stomach infrastructure
Okay.
tends to influence a lot of things. But I think that generally journalists strive to do
To
a
do
lot of,
good.
yes.
Okay, so at this point, I would like to say this is where I won't push it any further. What we'll do is tell everyone to expect much more coming from you when it comes to giving out all the kind of gems that they need to know in terms of when it comes to the writing, acting, all these platforms that you're well known for before now. So these are questions that people have been asking. These are demands that people have been making, and we're hoping that you will be able to put these across more organized and literally give lectures when it comes to all these things. I'm sure you're agreeing to it already. So we will
Uh,
push you and we will
I'm
be.
willing. I'm willing and able.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
mm,
I've been
so
trying to do that for a while. I mean, people generally, I find that people resist learning. I hope it is not true that if you want to hide the information from the African, you put it in a
put it
book.
in a book. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think a lot of people, things are different now. The environment is different now. This is an environment that is created that everybody wants some form of knowledge or the other. So, Pale, a big thank you to you for being a part of today's show. And until next time, I'll be calling you back again. So don't you dare go anywhere.
I'm proud of you, son. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Until next time. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's it. This is the Afrobeat Cult. And a big thank you to Mr. Ihria Enakimio, my old man, who is currently in the US. And one thing we can tell you is that you need to keep an eye out for the masterclasses that he will be preparing for everyone. So make sure you be a part of that one. And of course, remember to subscribe to the Afrobeat Cult. Until next time, talk to you guys soon. Bye.